Namaste, angels. This is the weekly love reading for the period of Sunday, the 21st of June, through Saturday to come, the 27th. For those of you celebrating a birthday, for the very last day of the sign of Gemini, the 21st, the summer solstice, happy birthday. And for the Cancers that will be celebrating their birthdays this week, happy birthday to you, First Deacon Cancers. We're going to get right into it, beginning with the dice and sex. Yes. And party. Maybe some of you will be actually celebrating some of those things, or it could be an engagement party with yes. Also 29 staring me in the face, which represents spiritual partnership, sex. Could be pregnancy, sex of a baby is something that's coming up. Maybe, some sort of shower or something because of the baby. Could be what the party's about. Maybe we're just celebrating because it's summer, right? And we've been stuck in the house. Most of us, wherever you are in the world, most of us have been stuck in the house for several months. I know that New York City is among the last people to get back out there. Many of you have already gotten back out there. We haven't really. In New York City, we're entering phase 2 of reopening on Monday, so we're trying. But for even if you already started reopening wherever you live, whatever country or state, city, many of us are just still stir crazy no matter what. So that could be what's going on with you. Some sort of celebration just to break up the monotony, as they say. And the dice say spend money. This is the same die that came out in the general. Spend money. I also saw like engagement and stuff there. Romantic dinner also came out in the general. Next one is try again. This could be trying a relationship again. I'm feeling very strongly the energy of judgment, which is about second times around, specific to the love reading or to love. Maybe a relationship that you tried in the past, and you're trying again, or maybe you didn't try a relationship in the past, but somebody from your past, you're trying again with them and something new can develop. If it's not that deep, it could be something like you tried to call somebody and you got their voicemail, try again. Or you sent an email, it went unanswered. It's Mercury retrograde. Don't presume that the person's blowing you off, try again, Could be something like that. Whatever it is for you. If you don't succeed, try again. I will try again as well. And the dice say forget it, which can also mean many things. It could be like, okay, well, it didn't work. Forget it, whatever. It could be whatever that thing was between us that we were, holding on to, particularly if it's something negative. Forget it. Let's try again. Let's move forward. Or, okay, we tried again. It's still not working. Forget it. Let's never do this again. It's going to be different for different people. As far as the cards, we are beginning with Major Arcana card 8 and Justice. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. This can be about balance in relationships, judgment, doing what's right. And that means what's right for you, not necessarily what society or your friends or your family or whoever you allow entree into your life deems is right. It's like what feels right in your soul and your heart, what's attached to your purpose. Again, it may be involving something from the past or someone from the past, with the 6 of Cups showing up, memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, and romanticizing the past. Making something right from the past. It didn't end on a positive note. Maybe there was some hurt, pain, separation, ghosting. So we're going to make things right. We're going to try again and make things right. Perhaps involving a King of Cups. He is here in reverse, and normally I wouldn't bother to talk about it, but I'm going to go ahead. The King of Cups is warm-hearted, devoted, loving, and faithful, and may be an actual water sign in your life, but does not have to be. It's somebody very romantic. And this is a very positive card as it relates to love, even and, you know, perhaps especially when it's in reverse. Because when it's in reverse, it means that somebody's saying, and very likely a male and or masculine energy, like, I'm ready to do whatever in order to go after my dreams and pursue my dreams in terms of love and, you know, and or relationship. So like, to hell with, you know, needing to live in New York. Like I said, I'm from New York. I'm ready to move to where you are, wherever that is. To hell with, this can be about like divorce or something too. Maybe to hell with that, or divorcing yourself, cutting yourself off from something, right? Because that, it doesn't feel right in your soul. So to hell with that situation. I am ready to do what's right. Or to hell with what went on in the past. I'm ready to do whatever I got to do to pursue my dreams in love. A trustworthy person or relationship enters your life. Right. Something that you can count on, you can depend upon, and you can trust it. You may receive wise and compassionate advice from someone. And if you do, they're speaking directly from the heart. So they're being genuine with you, is what it means. A possible Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, maybe more often than not. This was also in reverse. A Pisces with Major Arcana card 12, Awakening, showing up here, which represents the Hanged Man, about an air of suspension, maybe the need to make some sort of decision. It's a very spiritual card too, so you could be going through some sort of transition, change. Maybe you're a different person these days. That can be tied to justice, like you're going in two different directions. You're growing spiritually or emotionally or both. In different ways. And so that's why you got to revisit your relationship and figure out how that can grow in different ways moving forward, or maybe it's meant to end. A lot of times when judgment shows up, a long-term relationship, you know, up to inclusive of marriage, very, very possibly, likely even coming to an end. But for people who are single, it can be about meeting somebody who's like balanced energy, perhaps even reciprocal to yours, right? That you can trust. Look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. So there could be some kind of pause, maybe because Pisces, which this card represents, the Hanged Man, goes retrograde, or, well, not Pisces goes retrograde. Neptune, Pisces ruler, goes retrograde in the sign of Pisces again this week. Or maybe this King of Cups is a Scorpio. Major Arcana card 13, or death. It's time to release the past. This could be tied to forget it too, right? And to move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. Could definitely be tied to the Six of Cups, talking about releasing the past. Right, here's the past, letting go of it. Somebody returning to your life, very possibly. The King of Cups was in reverse. Now here's another character. It's the Knight of Cups in reverse. And the Knight of Cups for me can very, very often be about somebody returning to your life, somebody coming back from your past. A deeply emotional and probably romantic experience will sweep you off your feet. Things can move very quickly during such whirlwind encounters. So stay balanced and make decisions with both your heart and your intellect. Could be attached to any one of these cards here. And again, be it Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, someone likened to those traits or attributes, particularly romantic, emotional right now. And guess what the next card is? I'll stop after this one. This too is in reverse, but it's another Six of Cups. So we got one here and here's one here. The love and care of children could become an important part of your life, or people from your childhood may return to it. Old memories can be healed, or possibly old childhood dreams are ready to be revived. And it certainly doesn't have to be about childhood. It can definitely be about right here and right now. And tied to the past. So maybe it's connected to, again, these retrogrades. We'll have, as of this week, I believe 6 planets in retrograde. And then Venus also goes direct during this week. So for a very short period of time, a day or two, we'll have, I think, 6, like I said, planets in retrograde, and then we'll go back to 5 when Venus goes direct. For those of you who are single, commitment could really be trying to come your way in the very near future. And again, maybe with somebody from your past that perhaps you wouldn't otherwise trust because something didn't go right between you the last time. But with the 2 6 of Cups, with the Knight and the King of Cups as well, it looks like things are going to be different. So if you can, again, release the past, let go of the past, and move forward from there. Maybe the air of suspension has already occurred too for some of us, right? We've already had this sort of period where we felt like we were in limbo, hanging in the balance, perhaps because of some sort of ghosting or something. But we can finally move on. What else I want to tell you about these? The 2 6 of Cups. So 1 6 of Cups is enough sometimes to mean, again, that somebody's returning to your life from your past. And we have 2 here plus the Knight of Cups, which also can often mean that for me. So it's like, very strong energies of exes, or again, somebody that you had some sort of connection to from the past. Maybe you never tried to date or whatever, but you missed them, right, in your life. They could be returning, and maybe you will try to date now or this time. If you're already in a relationship with the 6 of Cups coming up twice, or again, even once, it can mean that you're spending too much time focused on the past and you're living in the past, and there can be a potential for sort of getting stuck there and not moving forward in your relationship, and you want to, right? So it can be about the 2 of you needing to sort of get refocused on your future and forget it in terms of the past. Like, let's let this go, especially if it's negativity attached to it. Let all that go. Keep your positive memories, and every now and then you can be nostalgic and look back on them, and all that kind of stuff. But don't stay there. Don't get stuck there. You want to move forward, not only in your own, in the relationship, but in your own life, right, as an individual. Talk about your goals and your dreams. Maybe try new things. Try to get into new stuff and spice up your situation so that you have, again, a new focus together moving forward. Also, with the people who are returning, you may want to forget it with regard to them too. There is that saying, exes are exes for a reason. Whatever, again, feels right to you based on your intuition, what you feel in your heart, what you feel is connected to your life purpose, your soul, what your body's telling you, butterflies in your stomach or a sinking feeling. You get signs or whatever, and listen to them is what all of these cards are saying. Again, the Hangman can be a very spiritual card too. So it can be like your spirit talking to you. And Pisces is a super intuitive sign, right? Pisces is also the sign of higher love. So like, Neptune rather, is the planet of higher love. So like Venus is the planet of love. Mars, which enters Aries, which it rules also this week, is the planet of the masculine planet of love. And then Neptune, which goes retrograde in Pisces again, which it rules, is the planet of higher love, or like our deepest levels of ourselves, like within. So like your depths and the strongest, purest, most genuine, real, maybe that you don't even show outwardly, love that you could possibly feel would be represented by Neptune and that Piscean energy. With the Universal Love Oracle, we're beginning with creativity. And this card for me is also very Piscean. I don't know if you can see like the translucent fish jumping out of the water. Water is, of course, representative of, the water element in the water signs. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. The moon in the tarot is representative of the sign of Pisces, but Earth's actual moon rules the sign of Cancer, where Earth's actual moon on the first day for which this reading is the 21st occurs a new moon in Cancer, and also a partial solar eclipse there. So that could be why this moon is showing up. Again, moons are about surrender. Then we have this very fiery angel here, red-bodied, red-winged. That could definitely be the Mars entering Aries effect. Could be representative of Jupiter as well, which is also in retrograde, currently located in the sign of Capricorn, although there's no earth in this picture. It's very water, fire, and air also. And then of the air signs, particularly the sign of Aquarius, with this little tiny star. Yeah, I think you can see that too. Like very strategically placed over the angel's third eye. Also, she's holding a vessel and it looks like water is spilling from it. And of course, Aquarius is the water bearer. Now, creativity, I'm feeling in connection to love, is about like where your passions lie, and honesty in making something that, you know, is truly in your heart to make and create. And that could definitely be tied to justice, this feeling of honesty that I'm getting. Maybe being true to yourself. Yes, true to yourself. That's what the honesty is about. Connected to your purpose, not just doing something to be doing something, or doing someone to be doing someone. Like, this is a real sort of deal. And very interestingly, oh, wow. Okay, so right behind it, it's in reverse, but there are no reversals in this deck. I'm pointing out that it's reversed because I shuffled these cards, and this card was second, not after creativity, after something else, but it was second in the general reading as well, and it was upside down that time too. So I'm just pointing it out, but Sacred Union is about what it sounds like, and especially in the love reading, you know, this is divine union, this is twin flame relationships, this is soulmate relationships, and sure enough, right behind it is also soulmate. This card looks very solar eclipse and new moon, because this appears to be like a moon, but it's also very bright and sunny here. And we have this feminine or female body emerging from a lotus flower. So it's like a lot of newness, and it's very summer solstice, which is also the first day for which this reading is, the 21st. And it's saying that in this area, miracles can happen, like even where you wouldn't expect something to be able to come together, or for your dreams to come true, your prayers to be answered, your wishes to be granted. It absolutely can happen, even for you, right? Fairy tales come true. It can happen to you, as the Disney song goes, right? Or something like that. So even for you, if you have faith and focus, and again, with the creativity, if you're true to yourself, if you model yourself after the creator, whatever that means for you, if it's God, if it's the universe, if it's Darwin, whatever, you model yourself, we imitate that in which we believe is empowered, then like we will be too. With the Keepers of the Light Oracle, we're beginning with Hilarion and Divine Healing. Honor your sensitivity. Retreat to recharge and heal. Your light can support others. And this is also maybe attached to an earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And lastly, the Knight of Wands is our overall energy from the Rider-Waite deck. This card came up a couple times, the Knight of Wands, like, because I got 3 tarot decks here in the general reading. In reverse also. I think in reverse twice. Anyway, the Knight of Wands is an Aries, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. Could be connected to Mars or to Jupiter directly as well. Right behind it is the Five of Wands. In terms of love, when the Five of Wands comes up, it can mean that something that appears to be, at least on the surface, a conflict is really necessary to your relationship. Like you may have to face something or have some sort of conversation that everybody's been avoiding. When you do, it's going to make things better with the relationship. It may involve a romantic love. So this can be about some sort of, situation with your mate or with a potential mate, a love interest or something. Maybe a direct water sign, but certainly not necessary. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Again, the Knight of Cups for me is often also somebody returning to your life from your past. Maybe somebody younger than you. A fire sign potentially, and Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, maybe a Scorpio also. Scorpio also ruled by Mars. Definitely guided to keep going. Nine of Wands also connected to things that we've created and to not let them just fall by the wayside. Like we decide when we're ready to, be done with them, or when we should continue going. And even if you feel sort of down and out, if you want, you have the right to protect what's yours and what you've created and to keep going. But for those of us who are ready to let something go or to move on, there's also newness coming with the Ace of Cups. I do want to mention, particularly because of the Five of Wands immediately behind it. So the Knight of Wands in reverse, in a general sense, is what I talked about during the general reading, that you could be getting some sort of message that there's a delay, like something's coming to you that you're wanting, that you're hoping for, but there's a delay in it coming. But in love, the Knight of Wands can mean that there's some sort of stress and or arguments that may pop up in an existing relationship. So again, tied with that Five of Wands, the Five of Wands can mean if an argument comes up, it's an argument that we need to have. And we don't have to argue, but at least a conversation. It could be a debate. It could be a deep conversation, but we just need to get to whatever the gist of the situation is. And it's going to make the relationship better, whatever that means. Whether we decide to like shake on it and part ways in connection to this, or, we decide we both want to fix it. And so we move forward somehow. Either way, if you think you found the one, so you've just met somebody or something, permanent commitment is probably in the cards for you. And it could even come about, fairly immediately, like this week or something. But you're going to want to make sure, based on how you feel within, that you know what you're getting into before you maybe, lock yourself down with something. Tie the knot, whether that's literally or, like emotionally. Make sure that you're conscious of what it is you're getting into. It's just possible that you're rushing things. So I will leave these cards on the table, the Rider-Waite deck. And we'll put our overall energy here. Again, it is the Knight of Wands. And we'll pull from here for a card for each element, beginning with the element of fire and the sign of Aries. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And your card is the Fool. The Fool is another card that came up in the general reading. But now we're going to talk about what it means in terms of love. And what it means in terms of love is that you may not be ready for a commitment. So maybe that's why there's a delay, because you need to figure out what you want, and you may be figuring out, okay, maybe I'm not really ready to get into a commitment just yet. Doesn't mean you're not going to be ever, again, give yourself that time. Make sure you know what you're getting into and that you are ready before you actually jump into it and lock yourself down, because that, wouldn't be good for you or the other person. Right. And there's nothing wrong with having fun and exploring things. And maybe, sometimes some people are, wish to date more than one person until they can decide. That's the way like dating used to be. I actually never really did it because I got married, pretty young, and I, had like very few boyfriends, one boyfriend all through high school. So I never really dated multiple people, but that's the way it used to be done by people who weren't getting married when I was coming up. You went out with a few people and you figured out, who you wanted to, if anybody, who you wanted to, commit to or with. So you could do something like that, and, maybe online, talking to different people until you find somebody that you actually genuinely like and would like to pursue. If you're looking for a relationship and hoping that it does turn into something, you are looking for a commitment, you are looking for love, then it's important for you to not let other things like get in the way. And sometimes your desire and need for freedom and independence can be what that thing is when the fool shows up. So just also, it may require you to like throw caution to the wind and take a risk and be open to just falling in love or whatever and letting life take you where it will. So if that's the case, don't be worried about doing that. And if that's not the case, don't worry about that either. Doesn't mean it's not going to be, again, you're not going to have true love, and it doesn't mean you're not going to have true love with the person that you're interested at the time. Sometimes these things are not instant, even when, it is going to be something real. So, just know what you're getting into, know what you're doing. That is for you fire signs. I think a lot of you fire signs that maybe that'll watch this are involved with another fire sign. It just feels really strong. The fire energy just feels really, really strong. Anyway, earth signs. Your card is Judgment in reverse. I talked about Judgment in the beginning, right? I said I was getting like a Judgment feel of second time around. So again, that is one of the meanings of Judgment. For me, pretty much Judgment is the same in reverse as it is upright. It can definitely be about being judgmental or rushing to judgment. So be careful about that. Same thing I was telling this person. Oh, and I was saying about the Knight of Wands in reverse. Like, don't rush in. You could be rushing. Don't rush to judgment about a person or about a relationship. Make sure that you're, entering, conscious of what you're doing. You and or your mate or your love interest or a potential, again, could be in, especially if you're in an existing relationship. So your mate, your partner could be, or whatever you call this person. People have different labels or sometimes no labels at all. But, if there's an existing situation, again, you both could be growing, changing, which is something else I was talking about in the beginning. It's important not to try to hold on, again, to the past or to, how things are now, the status quo. If something or someone wants to change, including yourself, your soul's nudging you to, go ahead and allow for the transition, don't try to fight it. Don't try to hold on to the old. If you're looking for love, it's especially if you have your eye on somebody already, a new relationship is probably in the near future for you. But again, there could be some sort of delay, and it could be a self-imposed delay because you're not sure of what you want to do. Right? If we look at that. So once you figure that out, then it might be time to move on. And also, time is relative, and delay could mean a lot of things. It may mean you have to wait till the end of at least Mercury retrograde, or it may mean in the beginning of this, the week, you have some sort of conflict, or you got to figure something out. And by the end of the week, you figured it out and you're ready to move on. It doesn't have to be in the far away. And especially, again, with this card, it tends to be in the near future. So, again, whatever that means, because time is relative. So what does near future mean? Just be sure about what you want also. That's the message that comes through with Judgment. Air signs. Oh, this is interesting. The Knight of Swords in reverse. It's interesting because in the general reading, we got the Queen of Swords in reverse. So the Knight can mean if you're looking for love, again, it can be around the corner, but you may have to look below the surface of somebody that you meet, or a few somebody, like when you meet prospective partners or potential partners. Maybe you are, again, dating around, or you just have your eyes open for that Mr. or Mrs. Right, and you may have to use those eyes to look deeper. So again, think Neptune, think Pisces, and going deeper, not necessarily a superficial connection. Geminis are good at that. People think that we're very superficial, but we're not. We actually don't even necessarily need that physical attraction is not our primary thing. We need somebody who can keep us engaged, who can engage our minds, our communicative parts, right? Because we are the sign of communication. So, somebody who we want to talk to, we have in-depth conversations, and, we can't talk to other people about these things because they don't get it. We vibe with this person. Or somebody that can like keep us guessing and excited, and again, would not allow us to get bored. That's like what a Gemini craves and looks for, more so than, oh, he's cute or she's cute. So you're definitely going to want to employ that trait this week and look a little bit deeper at people. And maybe it's involved again with somebody coming from the past, because those cards were for everybody. And maybe you didn't consider somebody before. You were younger, you weren't as open-minded, or you weren't thinking about relationships, or whatever the case was. But now you can look at that person in a different way. Like the Hangman says, right? Consider things from a different perspective, and then all of a sudden it's going to make sense. So that could be the case in love as well. And also, somebody may be trying very, very hard to get your attention, and this card shows up to say, just because that's the case, and it may be you may be sort of unimpressed, but just because they're trying really hard doesn't mean they're a loser. So you may want to consider them as well. Give them a second thought or look as well. If you have an existing relationship, something may be bothering your partner, and you may need to, again, talk, communicate. This card could be talking about Mercury retrograde too. Mercury is currently retrograde in Cancer, where the sun will be and the new moon will be. Cancer, that's another really loving sign. So, a really emotional sign, and we're really logic. So maybe that's a conflict. Your partner is really, again, emotional, and you're really in your head. And so you got to find a place to meet in the middle. Meet each other halfway somehow. Water signs. Your card is the Five of Swords in reverse. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just being affected by Mercury. But in any case, the Five of Swords can mean that you're like sacrificing your own happiness for someone else. It's possible you want to leave a relationship. You want to change a relationship, right? You're changing. And so you need it to change. You want to move forward, but you're, doing what you think the other person would want you to do, or what they've expressed they want you to do. There's something you need to talk about. Maybe you're avoiding it to make them feel better, or to not ruffle any feathers or whatever. And, you got to think about whether or not that's how you want to live. Do you want to be happy or not? Sometimes you have to like let go of your ego or your fears about a relationship changing or possibly ending because you address something, and just speak up and see what happens. And that's whether you're looking for love, and you're single, or whether you're in a relationship, a committed relationship, short or long term, whatever. We got to open up about how we're feeling and what our needs are, what our desires are, goals, dreams, and figure out whether or not, it's a possibility we can reach them together, or maybe, we're poorly matched. Either way, I want to take, I think for for the air signs rather, not just Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and for the water signs, I think I want to pull additional card for each of them. Let's do water first. The Page of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Swords says that there's some sort of difficulty in communication. Like I was saying, so there's something that, one or both of you need to speak up about. And or if you're single and looking, you got to, again, still be willing to talk to people, put yourself out there, have conversations, be clear about what you're looking for in a relationship and what you have to offer, all of that stuff. And this is annoying, but it's possible that you may have to look for like deeper meaning behind the word. Read between the lines. You may have to do some reading between the lines. And then after you do that reading between the lines, you may want to ask them to clarify it. Like, is this what you meant? Because somebody's not being clear. And that can be because of, again, Mercury retrograde in Cancer, possibly. So this really makes sense for the Page of Swords, maybe represented again and the Page of Swords and the Five of Swords, which can be about conflict. Here atop the water area, and maybe specifically with regard to Cancer. This could be very representative of Mercury retrograde, with them both in reverse, no less, in Cancer. So it's causing problems, perhaps for all water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, as it relates to communication and maybe that deeper level that it's important that we reach in our relationships. So Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Wow. Major Arcana card 6, the Lovers, which most directly represents the sign of Gemini. We may be doing some air on air. Like I was feeling fire on fire. That could be air on air. Or again, this could be our rulers coming through very strong too, because Venus, which is one of the rulers of the sign of Gemini, is currently retrograde in the sign of Gemini, but goes direct this week. And Venus is, of course, the planet of love. So that can be totally something. But also, again, Mercury is one of our rulers, and it too is in retrograde, albeit in Cancer. So that may be something that's going on and why this is showing up. Also, the Lovers showed up in the general reading, and I said it's either about like this really genuine, true love, which is very possible here too, especially if you think back to the very beginning of when I started and all those water cards, the 2 Knights of Cups, the 2 Sixes of Cups. This is yet another 6 in the area of love. The King of Cups. So it could definitely be that, but sometimes it is about a decision that we're needing to make or that we're awaiting and crossing judgment. Maybe that's the case too. Some of you may be waiting for some judgment of divorce. Maybe it's been taking a long time. Maybe it's been delayed because of what's going on. I know in New York, the courts have been closed. So maybe you haven't been able to get a divorce and you've wanted one for some of you, some of us. It's not the case for me. So I know that's not the case for all of us. There could be other things. Again, this is about like real, genuine love also possibly. At that divine stuff, the sacred union stuff we saw like in the beginning. With the Knight of Swords also saying like, keep your eyes open. So beneath the surface, somebody could really be like your true match. And I think most of us have that story most of us who have met our, divine masculine, or who we at least considered our divine masculine at some point, whether we've, decided to move on or they decided to move on or whatever it went. A lot of the times when you first met, either you or he or she like wasn't really interested, and then something happened where all of a sudden, boom, like, and then you couldn't you couldn't pull yourself away from each other, and one gets obsessed, usually the feminine, and begins to chase and push too hard, and then the masculine runs away, and that's the twin flame dynamic, and that could definitely be what has happened. So with the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Lovers, if it's not about a decision that we're needing to make and or that we're waiting, could definitely be about, again, this real genuine love, maybe with somebody that we're meeting for the first time, or maybe with somebody that is returning to our life. If it's with somebody that is returning to our life, I guess either way, or somebody, it's very possible that this is what one would call a divine union, a sacred union, or a twin flame relationship. Yeah, and maybe there was some pain, separation involved. This can be about misunderstandings, again, poor communication. So this, whether from the past, and maybe that's why it's in reverse, because we're, sort of behind us, or this is happening now, or it happens this week. Something that's misunderstanding could definitely come with, again, Mercury retrograde, problems with communication that involve or cause us, sadness, sorrow. There could be separation. Maybe it's not our intention to have been separated, but perhaps because of quarantine or something like that, people were separated. A relationship could have just ended. Maybe it's a combination of both. Some of us are dealing with divorce, whether it's legal marriage, but like we're divorcing from something or someone. And so that could be the possibility of why we were feeling some sort of, again, potential sadness or separation or something. If there's a need to feel pain, if it is present in your life, allow yourself to feel whatever needs to happen, but don't let it turn into like a judgment against yourself, or like a persecution against yourself, holding on to like guilt feelings or whatever. Let it all go. Blame, don't do that with somebody else either, like placing blame and guilt. If a relationship didn't work out, it just didn't work out. And, but again, let's deal with the hurt from that, but otherwise forget it and let it go. It's said that we all have, more than one soulmate. Anyway, so again, somebody, if that's the case, if there was a loss of a soulmate, there's somebody else out there. And that other cliche, one door closes, another one opens. But I don't want to leave it on a painful note. Six of Wands is another. Actually, I clarified the Six of Wands upright with the Lovers in the general reading. So this is interesting that the Lovers are here. Now the Six of Wands is here. But this Six of Wands is in reverse. It can mean that you have some sort of fear about relationships. So maybe you're carrying something from a past relationship. Or again, maybe you're carrying something from this one. The person's coming back. And so you're not sure you can trust them. And that, like I talked about in the beginning, the King of Cups is somebody who is being genuine with you, even if in the past they weren't. And so that's why it's giving you some sort of feeling like, oh, I don't know if I can trust this. No, you can. So you need to, let go of any fear, or again, guilt feelings, negative emotions, regret, resentment, blame, ego, pride, all these things. If you're feeling fear attached to the partner, something they did or something they said, or maybe some hurt or pain that they caused you, deal with those issues, like get to the root. If you're looking for love and fearing that you never find it, how come nothing ever works out for me? Maybe that's what the sadness is about. That doesn't have to be the case. Be careful of negative emotions and harboring them and manifesting negativity into your own life. So again, we're going to want to forget it in terms of those things and let all those negative emotions go. It's about believing that you're worthy of love and like true love. So victory, winning in love. That's saying love wins. All these cliches that are popping up. Reciprocity, equity, and equality in your relationships. And check your self-esteem if you're not feeling worthy. Like check you. And maybe that's where Hilarion comes in again, in the divine healing and the need to do some introspection or to go spend some time by yourself. If you're feeling like that, if you're feeling like you are undeserving of love, I'd like to end it on a better note. Yeah, the Two of Wands is a wonderful note, because everybody is deserving of soulmate love, divine love, and that is what the Two of Wands represents in the tarot. For one thing, it represents faith, or twos represent faith. So again, this is about believing in yourself, believing yourself worthy, in one token. But in another, the Two of Wands is the divine union or soulmate or twin flame card of the tarot. So again, this person, represented also perhaps by the Lover's true genuine love, is your true genuine love, like at the deepest levels of yourself. And this too, Temperance, about balance, about healing, about holding, about recovery, about like where you were feeling lack, having those holes filled in. It represents the sign of Sagittarius most directly. So maybe a fire sign is involved. However, for me, this looks like it represents the sign of Aquarius, because this angel is a water bearer. So I could be speaking very directly to an Aquarius, maybe that's dealing with a fire sign, or that's also got some, tremendous fire sign energy that they have down in their own chart. Sagittarius is ruler, or maybe even Mars, action, aggression, pushing you to move forward. All of these things. All right, I should stop. Oh, I'm glad I didn't. All right, this is what they want to push you to, the Two of Cups. All right, I'm going to stop there. So air signs, I just went through like the whole gambit of emotions for us, but there is definitely something positive in store. Again, near future is what I'm not only getting, but what these cards mean. But it's going to require you to, again, either go through or to have gone through whatever pain and emotions you need to go through because of the Three of Swords, and release it. Don't hold on to it. Don't hold on to it. I actually want to do the spread from the masculine perspective now, I guess, especially after all of that. Definitely something could be going on this week with air signs and fire signs and or water signs. And possibly a Scorpio or Pisces specifically. Maybe in that order too, because Scorpio would be tied to the fire energy because it is in part ruled by Mars. Maybe a Sagittarius, Scorpio, Cuspian also. In consideration of Temperance showing up. Look, I don't know what made me turn these over, but again, it's another Knight of Swords in reverse. Isn't that funny? All right, I'm put it back like this. This is too thick. Let's put some here, some there. And now we're still in this element of swords. Again, I think still very Mercury driven. The end of a career path, project, or relationship brings feelings of mixed joy and sadness. relief and disappointment. Isn't that what we've been seeing in the reading too? Like it could go either way. Put aside your fears about these changes, what I was just talking about, letting go of fear and negative emotions, and trust or have faith that a brighter future awaits. Yes, perfect. Okay. Divine Feminine in this spread, represented by the Four of Autumn of Pentacles. So for me, this card is about, again, not holding on to the status quo or, to the past or to anything that's holding us back, and like keeping something going, overstaying our welcome in a relationship or a living condition, a combination of both of those, a situation that's not really benefiting us because it's just easier to stay than it is to go. Or we feel that way. So when we feel that we're getting something out of it, like I really, can't stand to look at him or her every day, but at least we split the rent. Like that's not a reason to remain if you're unhappy. So that's what this card is all about for me. Because it's about living a life of extremes or seeing things in black and white terms. Consider, for example, whether you're spending too much versus hoarding your wealth, or giving too much emotionally versus building up walls to keep people out. The masculine as it relates to the feminine, the Nine of Fire or Wands also showing up again. Don't give up. Protect that which you've created. Have courage and believe in yourself. The masculine as it relates to himself this week. Nice progression. The Ten of Wands. You're working far too hard and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others and take some time to play and to enjoy life. He needs to be more social. He needs to get out. He needs to, enjoy life. Just thinking about it, worrying about it, being unhappy is potentially stressful and unhealthy. Could end up with different health problems. But also, this is a card of a need for balance and, again, equality and reciprocity and just feeling good. So he needs to seek to actually do that and have that. Masculine's feelings on the union or connection as a whole this week. Very Mars. Very Aries, potentially. Very Mars in Aries. Mars enters Aries, again, which it rules this week. Structure and organization are important right now. Don't be afraid to take on a leadership role as you have much wisdom to offer. And this could be in terms of a relationship, right? That masculine energy being the driving force. We have Father's Day this weekend too. That could be part of it. The Emperor, it represents like an authority or father energy, a father figure. Often for me is a married man or a man with children, or what I call the marrying kind, that sort of, secure, stable, the type of person we look to, who we expect might be a good provider or leader, all of those things. Overall, the King of Fire, I think that's who I just described, right? The King of Fire is motivational, idealistic, ambitious, and charismatic. Focus, focus, focus. Communicate with vision and be a leader. Take advice from someone creative. The King of Fire most directly is an Aries, Leo, a Sagittarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes, and also is the representation of the divine masculine in general in the tarot. What energy the masculine would have the feminine give to the union or connection this week, if it were up to him, and it is that matching reciprocal energy, the Queen of Fire Wands. She is confident, warm, intelligent, and graceful, and the divine feminine of the tarot. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and creativity. Creativity keeps popping up too. What energy he himself willing to give to the union or connection this week? The Star. Major Arcana card, the Star. Again, most directly represents the sign of Aquarius. And it's all about our dreams coming true, our wishes being granted, our prayers being answered. So basically manifestation, right? Those things that we focused on and attempted to manifest. Also, communication, very possible with this card. Happy times. Make positive, optimistic, long-term plans. You are on the right path. So again, looking forward, not to the past anymore. What energy the universe would have either archetype, masculine or feminine, or both give to the union or connection this week, and even wants to help us with. But we have to first affirm because we have free will. The universe is not going to take away our free will. It's going to wait for us to express that we want this help. And it is Prince of Autumn. Prince of Autumn is all about success. It's the only knight in all of the tarot that always reaches his goal. He's a planner. He sets a goal. He, had plans out what he needs to do in order to achieve it, and then he does. The Knight of Pentacles is trustworthy, dedicated, protective, and funny. It's important to make a detailed plan before starting any new endeavor. Once you have that plan in place, then you can take immediate action and get as much accomplished as possible. So that's what the universe wants to help us with this week. The Knight of Pentacles is potentially a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And the outcome here. The Queen of Autumn, very nice, thoughtful, caring, creative, and ingenious. You'll be given advice that's both practical and creative and should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. So again, for me, that creative energy was not only coming up earlier in the reading, but coming up with regard to being true to yourself, following your passions, taking action that nurtures you and your soul. So on that note, here is some advice. And further, I think I mentioned paying attention to our bodies earlier and getting messages from our bodies. This card also came up, and it may have been the advice card for the masculine, also in the general reading. However it showed up, whatever capacity, I don't remember exactly. But again, it is about receiving messages from our body. So getting gut feelings, paying attention to our intuition, maybe getting a sinking feeling if something doesn't feel right for you, butterflies in your stomach if it feels great and overwhelming and you don't know what to do with yourself, and just paying attention and moving forward based on that. And the feminine nude body, all about surrender for me too. So just like letting go and following that energy. For the feminine, very nice. Tantric union. So I said there could be communication. It may not be communication with words. It could be energetic. It could be intuitive, like involving some sort of psychic gift or something where you're just like receiving messages or seeing things very quick. Maybe in your dreams because of Neptune and Pisces. It could be while you're asleep. Could be cause you to daydream. But this is a deeper connection than, potentially even like a physical connection. And for some, it may involve a physical connection too. But this is tantric union is a very deeper, ascended kind of connection. From the Keepers of the Light Oracle, increased awareness. That's what I'm talking about with Neptune, with Pisces, with Cancer, with the moon. We are going to have an increase in this psychic awareness and consciousness, and we're guided to pay, very close attention to it. Deep connection, right? Been talking about that all day too, all night, during this reading, about going deeper, not superficial. This is under the surface. This is Neptune. This is Pisces. Trust your inner voice. Serapis Bay and Ascension for the feminine. I said this is about ascended love. It's so funny. I just used that word. Move into your true self. That's what I've been feeling the whole time with the creative and right? Association with that word creative. Rise above the darkness. The light is here. It's another 10 of Swords. We just had a 10 of Swords as an overall energy here. So maybe most specifically for the masculine is for whom something is ending. A career path, project, or relationship, living condition, whatever, something coming to an end. It's the end of a difficult situation. So it wasn't a good situation for you. Embrace the change and expect things to get better. So it's about being positive and optimistic and completing the goal, right? Reaching the end, like the Knight of Pentacles. Somebody may even be recovering from addiction, and that addiction doesn't have to be like, some sort of substance or something like that. It can be to a person or to an experience, or just like to toxicity and codependency. That's coming to an end. So we move into a more, again, reciprocal and positive energy of genuine love, not like obsession or toxicity. For the feminine, another Knight of Swords. Intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. I can't make this stuff up. And lastly, from the Animal Tarot, Major Arcana card 15, Ego or the Devil for the masculine. You may feel that you're trapped in your situation, but that's not true. Be careful not to overly focus upon material wealth. Sometimes we stay in a situation because of money or something like that. It's warning you against that too. So yeah, don't focus on that. Break away from negative thinking. It's the same thing I said too, negative emotions and stuff like that. So again, regret, resentment, guilt, blame, fear, ego, pride, all those things you want to let go of. The ego or the devil most directly represents the sign of Capricorn. Currently we have Jupiter, again, the ruler of Sagittarius, retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. We have Pluto, one of the rulers of the sign of Scorpio, retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So that can be why it's showing up, or it may be involving, perhaps for some of us, a actual Capricorn or earth sign with the Knight of Pentacles here, or just again guiding us toward being more Knight of Pentacles like, and making a plan and reaching our goals. Lastly, for the feminine, also in that theme of Pentacles, the Six of Autumn. Your success and prosperity have allowed you to pay off debts, acquire wise loans, or to receive a grant or scholarship. In return for heaven's blessings, be sure to share the wealth with others through donations of time or money to reputable charities. That is very true, but also with regard to love and relationship, when the Six of Pentacles shows up, it is about reciprocity and equality and equity and balance. And I match you, you match me, and we're both happy. This is, we both feel it. We're both willing to express that we do, and it's just all good. And that's that for this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed the love reading. I will be back with the moon reading. Again, the new moon in Cancer. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, please consider becoming one by hitting both the subscribe button and the bell button. And if you don't mind sharing, I sure appreciate it. Sharing is caring. If you have something that you'd like to say to me, it would be great if you could say it on the video. I know some stuff, you guys prefer to contact me in private. Most people do contact me in private. It's funny. And like, don't comment on the video at all. Everybody's like inboxing me and stuff. But if there's something that you can comment on the video, I'd appreciate that too. According to YouTube, most recently, that's one of the things that helps for the video to end up in the feed and to get its way around and stuff like that, so others can see it. So I appreciate it. Thanks again for letting me slide with my nails. Again, New York enters phase 2 this week, so hopefully I'll be able to get myself to a salon before I lose any more, before any more break. Thanks again. Namaste.